We're back with someone so special to all of us. Best-selling author Michael Lewis. He's out with a new book. We've been talking about it. Who is Government? The Untold Story of Public Service. We were talking about Moneyball in the break. I'm told that there's, not an unrelated, that there's some corollary to data and data guys and the torpedo bats. I mean, these stories and this reporting and telling these stories can change everything. And I wonder if the hope with this is to change or reverse the tide of sort of indifference from the current administration toward these people.
So the answer to that is yes. I mean, that's why we did it, right? This was the idea was you get these stories out and it explodes whatever's in people's heads about the federal bureaucrats. And and the book is doing great, right? So it shows that there's a market for this.
Hunger.
Hunger. And what has bewildered me a little bit is that the political marketplace has not figured that out. Like, these stories are fresh because neither party is actually advertising the government or explaining what it does. So people don't know where their dollars go. They have no idea. There has not been any effort to explain. And in fact, all the writers, I think, would say this. I mean, there were 6 other writers I hired to do this with me. All great writers, all used to telling very difficult stories. I think they'd all say that even though they came in peace, even though they were just looking for stories, that they had to go through like a phalanx of communications people before they were allowed to have a 20-minute session with the person they were interested in. We don't, for whatever, I mean, it's the political class is not incentivized to tell the actual government stories. We hear every day about politics.
Yeah.
But we never hear about the government. And so everybody has an opinion about Donald Trump or whatever. But if you ask them what goes on in the Department of Commerce, they'll look at you with a blank stare. And that's a problem. It's a real problem because it puts those institutions at risk because we don't know what's going on.
Well, and it's the foundation. I mean, and I guess you can argue about chicken or egg, but the only reason Musk views it as a political benefit at a political convention to start up a chainsaw and wield it as a metaphor for what he's doing to these people is because the table's been set, the ground has been laid to view them as waste.
That's completely right.
So what's the opposite? How do you...
This is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's sort of like tell the story, talk about the story, show that there's a market for the story so more stories get told. The Musk thing's really interesting, though, but you're right, it does, the fact that we have the ignorance sets the table for the destruction. But the point of the destruction is curious. I mean,
what is the point of the destruction?
Well, he came in and said, he said a couple of different things. He said he wanted to cut $2 trillion out of the deficit. Then he said it was waste, fraud, and abuse. But you could tell from what they've done that whatever they think they're doing, it's different from what they say they're doing. Like, if you wanted to eliminate fraud, the last thing you do is get rid of the inspector general at any of the agencies. It's the independent referee who is not beholden to anybody, who's been crawling all over the place looking for fraud and knows where to find it.
And never has the resuresources they need to actually get rid of. Especially you go talk at HHS, they never have the resources to go get rid of them.
And they got rid of all of them. Like, so they've essentially created and in an environment where it's easier to commit fraud than before.
So what do you think they're actually doing?
I think it's a gumbo of things. I think there's different ingredients. I think basically it's, from Trump's point of view, what he wants the government to be nothing more than an instrument of his personal ambition. It's like, instead of taking an oath to the Constitution, he wants the federal workers to take an oath to him. And so from his point of view, I think that's what he thinks. Anything you do to get rid of any obstruction, anybody who will point out that I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, get rid of them, kind of thing. The Heritage Foundation has a kind of like libertarian, we don't need government kind of, and that which never holds up in theory, but the minute you see what government is doing, you go, no, we need that.
It's like earmarks. People want it.
That's right. There's a reason we have there are good reasons why we have what we have, and it's true that it needs some fixing here and there, and it has not been refreshed, and like the government workers work in an environment that you or I would not want to work in.
Right.
But that's a different problem. And then Elon Musk. I mean, of course, he's got his own personal interests, and he doesn't want the government interfering with them. But I think I don't know, I'm guessing, I think he just gets off on the attention. I think it's sort of like it's all one great Twitter or X fight for him, and it's like everything he does that causes outrage gives him pleasure, and he clearly, it's shocking to me that he's in this position when he clearly knows less about it than I do, and I almost don't feel like I know enough to come on a cable TV show, much less go in and like wipe the whole thing out.
Well,
he's able to deal with ignorance in a way that I can't.
Well, it's the hubris, right? I mean, and what the federal worker is not, they're not hubristic. They are offended by inefficiency and waste more than Elon Musk is, I would bet my last dollar, because they pay the price of the inefficiencies in the federal government.
This is completely right. And if you want to find, like if you said to me, Michael, go write a story about waste, fraud, and abuse, it's so much easier to do in the private sector. Like,
Right.
I mean, I worked on a Wall Street firm. There are like 1,000 things happen every day that if it happened in any one of these agencies, it would be front page news and it would be a scandal and someone would be fired. So it is nuts to think that that's kind of like these people are all about waste, fraud, and abuse. Sure, they're inefficient government workers. They're 2.3 million civil servants. But broadly, the environment is so hostile to waste, fraud, and abuse already. You can't buy them. You can't buy them a sandwich. You know,
Can't buy them a drink.
Yeah.
I want to turn to Wall Street with you.
All right.
Can we sneak one more break and have that conversation?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back.